Hey, what's up everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video with the camera pointed backwards. Fix that. All right, now we got some good news. If you're a Laker fan, we finally know who our head coach is. A 4-year deal has been agreed upon with JJ Redick. JJ Redick out of Duke, fantastic shooter. Young coach, doesn't have any experience as we know, other than coaching a bunch of kids, which is not very comforting, but we have had a chance to see him on television speak basketball, so we know what his basketball philosophies for the most part generally are. JJ Redick is somebody that I think is going to provide some real basketball expertise on the offensive end, especially. He seems to be able to articulate the ideas that he has rather well, so I think his communication skills are going to be strong. I wonder about whether or not he's going to demand the respect of the locker room, given the fact that he's just basically retired like 2 years ago. He's a young guy. I don't think he's any older than me and Bron, 39 years of age, something like that, almost 40. So it's going to be a little tricky for him trying to coach, quote-unquote, coach LeBron James, although I think LeBron James basically is assistant coach on the floor, basically. So that's how I look at that. But, some words about maybe his personality wouldn't be best for what the team is, and talks about Anthony Davis may not want him on board, but at the end of the day, the Lakers made this decision. A 4-year deal, no framework has been detailed to us. I don't think anything's been signed on the dotted line as of yet. That's not what we're hearing, other than a verbal agreement to a 4-year deal. So, it's going to be some people, I was listening to Laker Nation this morning. They did a poll, and it was basically 50-50 in regards to whether or not people would welcome JJ as the coach. But I think most of the people who don't want JJ as a coach probably don't like the optics of him being on this podcast with LeBron James, appearing to be LeBron James's boy and now getting a job. It just provides too much leverage for a guy like LeBron James to have in this organization. But at the same time, I think if he proves himself to be a good coach, then I think he'll win those people over. And some people just don't like the idea of us hiring a rookie coach, given the fact that we had a bad tenure with a rookie coach. Darvin Ham, it didn't work out. It was very bad, but I think we had some issues with Darvin Ham that didn't have anything to do with basketball as it pertains to some promises made for him, facts over feelings statement, and then kind of proceeding to run the team as if he was doing politics out there and playing his buddies and stuff like that, as opposed to going with some of the young guys. So we just had some real fundamental frustrations, I think, with Darvin Ham on top of the shortcomings of our expectations. So, or the coming up short to our expectations is what I'm trying to say. So I don't know that this will be a duplicate of that, but we didn't have the greatest pool of coaches to choose from, in my opinion. So JJ Redick, a modern kind of mind, a younger person who probably keeps up with the NBA's changes a little bit better than maybe some of the recycles coaches from yesteryear that a lot of people wanted us to use. And you want to find the next best thing. You don't want to tell yourself that experience is the most important circumstance when the NBA is changing very much, and sometimes you do need to go outside of what you're used to in order to find what's best for you. So I think the Lakers, they took a while to make this decision, as we know. I didn't mind them taking their time, but it did have some weird ebbs and flows to the circumstance, given the fact that we chased down UConn's coach Dan Hurley and weren't able to get him, and initially had JJ at the top of the list and then brought in some other names and then did the Dan Hurley thing. It didn't work out, so now JJ was back on the top of the list. And so it was a lot to say about that situation. But at the end of the day, I think when you're talking about JJ Redick, what you're bringing him in for is the upside of him potentially being a fantastic basketball mind that could really connect with young players, help with basically every aspect of basketball, be on the same page with LeBron James, and somebody who's basically interviewed for all of us on his viral shows and TV shows and things like that. You saw him excel on TV in an arena that he didn't have any experience in just a short amount of time, take on multiple jobs in that field that all were successful, both his own private ventures and with the big company. So that lets you understand just how intelligent and how hardworking this individual is. He's excelled at everything he's ever done, so why wouldn't it stand to reason he wouldn't excel trying something else? So that's kind of the logic, I think, and I believe in it. So I'm relieved this is done. I'm supportive of the decision, even though I have my reservations like most informed basketball fans. But at the end of the day, if I'm going to bring in a rookie, if I'm going to do this and bring in somebody with his resume, I want to have seen what I've seen from JJ in order to co-sign it. I don't know that you bring in a rookie coach, period, for our expectations. That's the reality of it. The Lakers are trying to win a championship now. We got a win now core. So you really feel kind of like you're setting this coach up for failure based on the fact that he doesn't have any experience and that the expectations are so high, and the fact that we're working with so little as it pertains to assets to build the best team around him. So it's kind of like a wash for the first season. I hope he can make it through that season without everybody calling for him to be fired, because at the end of the day, we already know we don't have a team that can win a championship no matter really what we do. Probably not this year or next year that's coming up. So at the end of the day, I think when you consider J.J. Redick as a prospect, you hope that the hire was not just for 2 years, or even though they gave him a 4-year deal, that he can actually see that through and maybe even stick around for longer, because the Lakers have so much turnover with their coaches who keep on hiring and firing. It's kind of a revolving door and a running joke. So that's what you hope has come to an end in this situation. And so it's up to the Lakers to really just be patient with J.J. Redick. It's also obviously up to J.J. Redick to put forth the type of expectations that are there. You know, he interviewed a certain way. We want to bring him in to do the things that obviously he told the front office he's able to do. And one of the issues that we've had is that we haven't necessarily been able to see guys see through the vision, and so see it through, I guess, is what I'm trying to articulate. So hopefully he can stand and do the job that he's interviewed to do. And like I said, my expectations are not super high. What I want to see from JJ is competence in some key areas, rotations that make sense. He's articulated on his podcast with LeBron James some of the different things that he would otherwise choose to do, and I think they make a lot more sense than what it is we saw last year. Improvement from the young guys and a willingness to play young players, not being so caught up in the idea of getting fired if things don't work out that you forget that one of the most important things you're being assessed to do is to elevate the assets on the floor. So don't run with the 20-year vet role player over the young prospect that we just picked up because you're worried about the prospect not playing well and that's reflecting poorly upon you. It's your job to make him play well, and he needs to be able to be on the floor to do that. So I get sick of that around the league. Coaches do that. That's a big turnoff for me. They think role-playing older vets are likely a safer bet for them to keep their jobs. I don't want to see none of that from J.J. Redick. I need us to develop the young players, and I need us to be intentional on letting them develop on the court when they're ready. If a guy isn't ready, he isn't ready. But I don't want to see none of that fail-safe role-playing nonsense. I can't stand it. So that's really my point of view. That's what I want to see. Competent timeouts being called. We had a real issue with that with Darvin Ham. He was especially terrible at it. So I want to see competent calls on timeouts. Keeping his cool, not costing us points by losing his temper and getting into it with the role players. I mean, yeah, they are role players. The refs, they might as well be role players. I'm going to say affect the basketball game. But I'm talking about the officials. I don't want him to lose his cool without a purpose. A lot of times coaches will deliberately get technicals, and sometimes it can be a good strategy to light a fire under your team. So that's not what I'm talking about, but just in general, just keeping his cool, knowing what he's here to do, knowing he represents us as an organization, and the best way he can help his team is on the sidelines, not in the locker room. So stay on the floor and don't give away points by sending the other team to the free throw line with your actions. And so that's important. And then, just at the end of the day, I don't really have too many other expectations. He's going to have to bump his head in regards to what works and what doesn't. Working with personality is going to be tricky. The pressure with the media and stuff like that, I'm not too passionate about how he handles the media. I think he's already proven himself to be extremely good at TV stuff. So I don't doubt that now that he's been with the media for an extensive period of time and excelled, as I said, in that area, he should be especially positive in that area of doing all the stuff that required to be done on TV. I mean, he's a TV professional and he's damn good at it. So I don't worry about him and answering questions or articulating himself or anything like that. That's what he's good at this point. And what I'd like to see is improvement in shooting amongst players that are not very good at shooting. When you bring in an expert, legendary shooter, one of the things I definitely would like to see rub off on the rest of the team is improved shooting. So I look at him being a head coach and, to a point, a shooting coach. So I want to see our team have a good shooting diet. I don't want us to take too many three-point shots. And then listening to him talk, just because he's a shooter doesn't mean he wants to shoot 73s a game. I don't think he does. I think he has a logical point of view on that aspect of the game. And just because he was great at shooting doesn't necessarily mean that he thinks we should be shooting every possession. So that's what I like about JJ, and listening to the podcast. He seems to have a realistic expectation for others as it pertains to shooting the ball, and his basketball IQ just seems to be really good in various areas of the basketball floor. So we're going to see how that translates to defense. Will he be able to put himself in a position to have good defensive coaching around him to help him with some of the things that maybe are not his expertise? And in doing so, how well will he work with those coaches? How well will he work in this environment where things can change a lot around him? The front office and the way that they operate, can he do what he does at a high level while uncertainty surrounds him? It's going to be the question for me. And in the front office, of course, we have questions for them and whether or not they can make this a good enough environment for him to just not be distracted. He is a rookie coach. He is used to a certain level of excellence in what it is that he does, and certainty around what it is that he does in media. And I would imagine that it would not be a good transition from him from media to coaching if the front office is doing malarkey and stuff like that just makes his job so much harder. So, that's really what it is. Hopefully he thrives in this environment. Hopefully he thrives under this pressure situation, the bright lights. Obviously he knows Los Angeles because he played for the Clippers for several years, but I think he's going to be tested a lot throughout the course of these years that he's going to be coaching the Lakers. And I think he's going to age a lot. I said it already that, this is a job where he's coming in looking like a young man, like a president does, and can go out of this in this job without any hair on his head and wrinkles all over his face, because this job is definitely going to age him. The pressure of coaching LeBron James, not the same as doing a podcast with the man and that kind of thing. So, and then, also, I'm just curious to see what his play style will be. We've heard him talk about his philosophies on line and various different platforms, but what is his idea about what basketball should be for the Los Angeles Lakers? Does he take well to the expectations that we have? I don't feel Darvin Ham did. I don't think Frank Vogel really did. Guys that didn't have patience with the Los Angeles Lakers fan base in regards to how intent we are to excellence in everything that we see. We can be a bit microwave minded, but I think that ultimately we've proven that we are a supportive fan base, especially when we see people working hard. You don't have to be excellent. We just have to respect your work ethic and respect your competence. And I think JJ Redick is going to provide both very quickly. I think the Lakers fan base will take well to JJ. Of course, he never played for our franchise, so we don't know him that well. But I think he has the qualities that can make him look as if he's a good coach on the sidelines, which is something that the Laker front office has really wanted. Photogenic guy that looks good in suits and stuff like that. But also somebody who knows the game, who has a logical approach to basketball, and somebody who's well respected in other areas of the sport, for which is, I think, a positive thing when considering hiring a coach. So I like the idea of getting in the state-of-the-art, new and improved type of thing. I didn't want a recycled coach, to be completely honest with you. I really didn't. I wasn't looking forward to us hiring anybody that had already been around. If James Borrego, somebody with the Charlotte, I didn't really like the results of his tenure there. David Adelman was interesting to me. I think he's also a state-of-the-art type of coach, that kind of thing, something new. So I would have been happy with him if JJ didn't get the job. But some of the other names that are out there, I just didn't think we needed to be recycling coaches. So that's my point of view. I kind of preferred this outcome than some of the other options that many Laker fans might have been preferring in this situation, man. I didn't like the coaching pool really to begin with. I was super excited about the idea of bringing in Dan Hurley once I became familiar with his resume and what his play style and play calling was like. But, it didn't work out, and so I always said that I would support the JJ hire if he came through, and the fact that the Lakers did hire him today, I think is something that we can be fairly optimistic about, and dare I not say excited about, really, to be honest with you. I just have my questions about his experience, and then of course my questions about what the expectations would be and what would deem him doing a good job in this organization's current situation. What does it look like when you assess him? What are you actually expecting from this roster? What are you actually expecting from this rookie coach? And so for me, I would prefer him in a situation where there ain't no expectations to win, to be honest with you. But I think if he can get through this, we'll get there to that point where there are no expectations to win. LeBron is 40, Anthony Davis is in his 30s. If JJ can just keep this team in the playoff hunt, have us perform properly in the playoffs, the core is going to move on. And he's going to have a fleet of young players to run through a wall for him soon enough. So long as our front office doesn't do anything that'll make our team not have a future, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I left a video here earlier today talking about that. And I think in you hiring a rookie coach or a coach that's in year 3 is going to be in his 3rd year doing this job, I think the expectations for him to win are a bit much, if not very, very much. So, he's got a lot of learning to do. It's going to be some nerves there, but I'd like to think that JJ has known he could potentially get this job for months now. So the idea of who he wanted as his coaches around him and his style of play and what his vision is, I'd like to think is already established to a degree. And so that's my hope. I know he had other obligations with the NBA Finals and his other ventures, but, I think that he should have some idea about the vision that he wants for this team starting up this year. So now that we have a coach, that's one thing in the bag that we don't have to worry about. We can start to assess what he's told the Lakers his vision is in regards to the play style, and then from there, bring him the rookie or make the trade that best utilizes those assets to get him what he needs to succeed and what he'd like to see develop over the next 4 years. So I want to keep the pick personally, or trade it for another pick that's higher, or trade down maybe for a plethora of seconds. I think we can get a lot of nice role players in this draft. So I don't want to move out of the draft. So that's my thing. If you want to trade the pick, fine, but make sure you bring me back more picks in the process. I don't have any interest in bringing in a role-playing 6-year guy that's averaged 7 points, and now we want to bring him here because we're excited about him. I don't care about that. That's not what I'm interested in. Just bring me a plethora of young players personally, and I got my rookie coach, and that's pretty much solid for the beginning of what I think is an imminent rebuild. So, yeah, that's my take. That's my take on it, man. I'm not as nervous as a lot of other people are because my expectations are not very high. I don't expect to win a championship this year. You know what I mean? Not with a rookie coach, not with this core and the little assets we have to bring it what it needs, and the irresponsibility of mortgaging all that we have to make the team good enough. It just ain't. I don't expect that they're going to do that because it doesn't make any sense for the long term. And I don't think it really helps the team in the long term when you mortgage everything in 1 year just for an opportunity at a rookie coach possibly getting a championship. I think you probably do better spread your assets out a little more over the course of years, bring yourself some win later talent, and hopefully some of them will pop and have upside and things like that. So that's a safer bet for me in regards to us, and that's kind of what I was talking about earlier in the video. So yeah, man, that's really what it is, man. I think we should welcome JJ. I think JJ is going to be a pretty solid coach when he gets his wings underneath him. It may take a couple of years, but if we don't ruin the man's love for coaching, I think he's proven he can excel in pretty much anything that he does. And he's been coached by the best in regards to college. Coach K, he was at Duke for many years. I think over the years he's had some really good, solid basketball play that we've seen out of him as a high-level starter, role player, and a shrewd businessman that found a way to get the most out of the cap every year. That's for damn sure. He was known for taking 12-year, 1-year deals, that kind of thing. And I think he made a lot of money in this league because of how he operated. So he just excels in a lot of different things. And I don't see a reason why in a good base environment he can't excel at this too. I don't have any evidence that he can't. So yeah, I think Laker fans should be fairly optimistic, man. I think a lot of them are going to be down, but a lot of those people are the same people that want us to mortgage picks and bring back Dorian Finney-Smith. And those are people I do not listen to at all. I think those people need to be listening to people like me. So with that being said, I'm fairly optimistic this will work out. I think this is going to be a better situation than Darvin Ham. I think JJ is a better coach already than Darvin Ham. Even though we ain't seen him coach at all, he got to be better than that. And, I'm not one of those people that thought that Darvin Ham should be coaching this team at all. I think he's a much better basketball mind just in general. He doesn't come from the unorthodox tree that the Bucks were providing in the different ways that coach there. Budenholzer was coaching. I don't think that Budenholzer was leading Darvin Ham in the right direction with the way that he wanted to coach Darvin into coaching. Darvin was doing stuff that he didn't execute properly, and it just made for a very difficult situation. Darvin was trying stuff. Darvin's instincts weren't very good, in my opinion. When he would quote unquote throw a dart at the wall, he would usually throw the TV at the wall. He would throw your laptop at the wall. He wasn't necessarily throwing darts. He would do stuff that didn't make any sense. It didn't help himself at all. So for me, I just was never a fan of Darvin Ham in that regard. And I think JJ Redick has already displayed a certain level of intellect that Darvin, for the basketball coaching field, just didn't have. And so I'm much more optimistic that we're getting a better rookie. And so that's my frank take. I've been obviously following this team closely for many years. I will not give any coach the benefit to make my team worse. So if JJ's not good out there, we will get on his case just like we did Darvin, just like we did Frank, just like we did Luke. I don't play with coaches, but I also understand that a guy's a rookie, man. Unless he proves himself to just be incompetent or just hard-headed and dense, then I ain't got no reason to bash him for certain mistakes, because rookies make mistakes. So, it's a high-pressure situation, and I think he should be given as much rope as necessary to develop, so long as he shows signs of being able to do so. And so that's really what it is, man. But I think from what it is that we had to choose from, this is the outcome that I ultimately would have landed on to. I wasn't excited about bringing in Monty Williams. I talked about that earlier today. Sam Cassell was cool, but I kind of like the state-of-the-art idea of a JJ Redick and the different things that kind of align with him being able to be on the same page with LeBron James. Obviously, with LeBron James being a free agent, you'd like to think that this hire would just solidify him signing with the team, but information yesterday came out that not even his son signing with the Lakers would guarantee he resigns, which I don't think bodes well 7 days before the damn draft. I don't know what Clutch is thinking releasing that information. I don't think that helps anybody, least of all Bronny. Because now the two teams that Bronny worked out for, the Suns and the Lakers, can essentially say, well, there's a chance we sign this kid who's not supposed to be drafted in the range that we're going to take him in. And his father don't even resign with the team. Like, what the hell am I bringing this kid in for? So I just think that kind of does the wrong thing in regards to what it is that you're ultimately trying to accomplish. If you're serious about Bronny coming into the league, all the way up until the last week of the draft, you were using Bronny as a means, LeBron James as a means of making us think that we sign his son and we get LeBron. And then 6 days before the draft, now they just renege on that. It's like, yo, you are really botching this kid's situation, in my opinion. Whoever's going to draft him is essentially doing it at their own risk. Lakers or Suns. I think that message was probably more for the Suns than the Lakers, but they attached the Laker name to it, so we have to think that too. There's a chance we actually sign his son, we don't even stay. So I think the safest thing for me as a Laker fan, probably take him with 56, just to be on the safe side. 55, 56, whatever the pick is. If he's available there, take him there. But if he's not available, I'm not necessarily reaching. Maybe I try to get another second round pick to a little sooner, maybe in the 40s or something like that. Try to improve my chances of getting him. And worst case scenario, I'll come up with another good prospect. Maybe you use cash considerations to buy that pick, but I'm not going to go out of my way to take him at 17, of course, or try to trade into the high second round and think that is the best use of that value. I just don't think it is. It ain't. He'll be available as an undrafted guy if all these teams are paying attention to what I am. There's too many good players in that second round, potential prospects that could turn into pros. To just be going after on a whim, reaching on a guy who's probably not expected to be drafted otherwise. So that's the truth. But if you're the Lakers, you probably don't want to step on LeBron's toe to that degree to where you have a last pick in the draft or in the last few picks of the draft and you just leave his son on the board. I just think that would probably anger him and make him maybe want to leave. So safest thing to do is just use that pick, take the kid, and that's probably what I would do. But, yeah, man, I wouldn't necessarily be all that happy about it. I'll tell you that. I don't think I'd be too pleased with having to do that. And I do believe that no matter what, we probably leaving somebody on the board that we'd probably be happy to take. So it is what it is, man. That's just what it is. Hopefully the Lakers in their job searching duties have also found time to scout as many of these prospects in the first and second round as humanly possible. I do understand they brought in some exciting names from the first round. Zach Edey, Ron Holland, a few other guys as well. So, I'm a little higher on Zach Edey right now than I was maybe a little earlier in the week. I think what's selling Zach Edey for me the most, beyond everything else, is just the size. 7'4", 307. I just think that's a load to deal with, man. It's a load. And while he may not necessarily fit with spacing the floor or his style of play, maybe this, that, and the third, but I think as I'm starting to assess what it is that we need, if for some reason someone takes DaRon Holmes off the board, I really do like the idea of having a 377-pound center with 7'4" wingspan on the basketball floor. I really do. And the hype around Zach Edey kind of makes it corny. But if you remove the hype and don't let it affect your thinking, that's 307 pounds of man that you're able to throw at Jokic. You suddenly go from being too small to guard Jokic to Jokic having somebody he really needs to deal with on both sides of the floor. And while he may not be able to guard Jokic in the paint, Jokic is going to have a very difficult time guarding him. And he's the only person, Jokic is the only person on the team that's going to be able to deal with Zach Edey. And Zach Edey has a strong motor. So I'm telling you guys that I think Zach Edey's flying up my board as it pertains to my what I would do if I'm the Lakers. It is just the more I think about that weight and how important it is to have a heavy center in this league and a tall center in this league, the more I realize that Zach Edey may not even be on the board at 17. He may not even be there. So I don't know, man. I think if the draft was right now in this second, I probably would take Zach Edey with 17th overall pick. I just wish he stretched the floor a little more. I wish he was a little more mobile. He ran the floor a little better than he does, but I understand fully the importance of having a don't get all the time center that's heavier than everybody else. And the issues we've had with Anthony Davis trying to guard these people has been so extensive to where you probably should take the heaviest guy possible. And since Zach is in our range, there's only one player I think fits better. Only one player, and that is DaRon Holmes. Everybody else, I'm probably taking Zach over you in our range. And I don't expect Clingan to be in our range. So Clingan first, DaRon second, Zach third for me and my big board of centers. Other positions, entirely different story, but centers, that's where I'm at with it. Of course, you got somebody who's not realistic, Sarr in the mix somewhere. But yeah, man, that's what it is, man. I'm really starting to lean toward the idea that Zach Edey is just remove the hype, which probably plays in the Lakers' favor since we are a hype-based organization. But even for the blue-collar situation that we would otherwise have if he weren't Zach Edey the name and we weren't Lakers the name, that's a 307-pound center at 7'4" that dunks everything and blocks everything and rebounds everything. Yeah, man, that's probably where I'm going with it right now. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's probably where I'm going with it. So I just wanted to update my point of view on that too, man, and put my 2 cents in the situation. I just think that's too important right now. With Wembanyama coming in, Sengun, and all these damn big centers, man. Even Clingan himself coming in at 280-something pounds, probably gonna be on a Western Conference team like the Blazers or something. I do not want Anthony Davis guarding these people, bro. And while they can't be on the floor at the same time, I really don't care. If Anthony Davis has to sit down for Zach to come in for 20 minutes, then that keeps Anthony Davis healthy. Him not having to guard those people and not having to play all those minutes is 2 pluses on the board. So I'm changing my mind as it pertains to who we need, man. Khalil Ware, I'm not taking Khalil Ware over Zach Edey right now. Not today. Not today, though. And so that's what I wanted to say. That's basically who gets scooted down a little bit. And that's pretty much my thought. Zach Edey's a bit older, so the upside is quote-unquote not there. Like 21, 22 years old, played 4 years in college, which I think even more so helps you. I think 3 years or 4 years, maybe 3 years. So, yeah, man. Yeah, I always was a Zach Edey fan. Throughout the course of this process, I always was pro Zach Edey, but I just was worried about him not spacing the floor. Until this second, I still worry about that. And not being able to guard the perimeter till this second, I still have a real problem with that. But you just tell me how Jokic is going to stop him in the paint. How Jokic is going to keep from fouling this guy. How is Jokic going to keep from fouling Zach Edey? And the answer is he's not. He's not. It's that simple. So that's what comes to mind, man. I need somebody that Wembanyama is too small to deal with. This guy's the same height as Wembanyama, but probably almost 100 pounds heavier than him. Like, yeah, man. And while we still can't guard the perimeter, which is important when dealing with Wembanyama and Jokic, something's got to give. And what's been given lately is the fact that Anthony Davis ain't exactly stopping him from shooting a three. And if push comes to shove, we can still put Anthony Davis on those guys if we need to guard the perimeter, if they going hot from behind the arc. It's not like Anthony ain't there to sub in. So we have our chance of trekking out there a little better any damn way. So, yeah, man, I'm talking myself into Zach Edey, ladies and gentlemen. That's what's happening here. I'm talking myself into Zach Edey, and I'm also telling you that I don't think he's probably going to even be there. I think he could be gone to Sacramento. I think he could be gone as early as 10 to Memphis, especially if Clingan's off the board, or 11 rather than Memphis. OKC too. All these teams could use a big, man, and the bigs that are in this range, they're not exciting, most of them. After Clingan leaves, they're all in the same tier with one another until the second round. So, yeah, I think the chance that Edey's off the board early is reasonable. Probably going by, if I'm being real, probably going by 17. We're probably the lowest he's probably going to go at this point. So, that's my thought on things. That is really my thought on things, man. And, yeah, that's pretty much it, man. DaRon Holmes is still somebody I want, though. Don't get it twisted. I love this floor spacing. I think he has the ability to put on at least another 20 pounds of size. That brings him up to 240. excellent rebounder, excellent shot blocker, high motor as well. So these are interesting attributes for a guy who I probably trust to guard the perimeter a little better than I would anybody that I already named. So still love Deron Holmes for the Lakers. Still do. And I think we should use one of them 2 picks on one of those 2 players. Or rather, whoever's available, take one of those 2, in my opinion. That's where we at with it. Unless Ron Holland's on the board or somebody in the top 5, and you probably, just take who's the best player available. You don't do what we did last year, put it like that. If Buzelis is on the board at 17, you take Buzelis. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. But if the range stays what it is, and everything pretty much goes the way people expect it to go, and Edey's on the board, and Holmes is on the board, you take one of them, is what I'm saying. So it can go a lot of different ways. I think some things could still change from here. There's still a few players I'd like to do some more homework on, but I'm pretty set on that right now for us. And so that's pretty much my thought on that, man. As far as everything else, well, welcome to the Lakers, JJ Redick. We have work to do, man. Our passion for defeating our enemies is rather extensive and obsessive, to be honest with you. The Celtics just won the championship. The Nuggets still call themselves Laker Daddy. They did knock us out of the playoffs, even though they were gone the next round after that. The Clippers are still coming into a new building. So we expect JJ Redick to have a certain level of solidarity early on and develop his own vitriol for these franchises as he continues to be a Laker. I understand that something strange happened in Boston right before the end of the finals. He was at Fenway Park watching a baseball game, and his wife accidentally got hit with a baseball and broke her finger, maybe. I don't know if they actually confirmed that her finger was broken, but I guess it was headed for one of their children, and she was able to kind of get her hand in the way. And the ball was actually flying toward JJ's seat. You feel me? Like literally where he would have otherwise been sitting if he wouldn't have been in the concession stands while this happened. So like, you got to understand, man, the universe is telling me that Boston was after JJ. They knew he was taking the Laker job, and they were trying to take him out with a baseball. Like, that's the spirit of the Boston Celtics. It knows no end to the hatred it has for this city and their enemies. And so, JJ, you're flirting with the Lakers? Hell yeah, baseball's going to fly out of nowhere and accidentally hit somebody from your family. You damn right. That was meant for you. You better believe it. Don't think that's happenstance, buddy. That's that Laker-Celtic rivalry, my good friend. So, welcome to it. You're putting on purple and gold. You are officially expected to be hunting the Celtics at all times from here on out, man. Anything less than that is you playing yourself, and the universe just told you that. So that's pretty much what it is, man. Darvin didn't get it. Vogel got us a championship, but he didn't get it. Luke Walton just wasn't good at what he did. Byron Scott wasn't good at what he did. We've had a lot of bad coaches, friends. Mike Brown was like 10 years away from becoming the coach he is today. We've had some bad coaches, man. I'd like to think that JJ is not about to add his name to that rank. I really would. I'd like to think this is the new guy that we're going to keep in place that's going to carve his legacy out as a long-term Laker coach, man. I'd like to think that. And so hopefully he puts forth the energy, effort, determination to get not only the job done, but enriched in Laker lore, enriched in our culture. Take well to us as we pick everything he does through a fine-tooth comb, and if he reacts well to that, then we'll learn to support him in ways that he's never been supported before. Because once the Lakers love you, we love you for life, man. But once we dislike you, we want you gone immediately. And that's the reality of our fan base and the reality of our expectations. So that's pretty much what I got to say, man. My name is BDF44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.